Systems, go.
Fuel, go. Electric, go.
Control surfaces, go.
Start. Control, you're clear for takeoff. Nice, sweetheart. One last ride.
This makes me smile even more.
So Jeffrey, it's good to be back again. It's around the third time now that we meet.
Yeah.
The three of us, me, Cinemike and you, to involve you in the train-off project. And the project, I mean the modification. So, yeah, what can you tell about it?
Yeah, well, thanks that I can join the project for the Trinnov. And last time we checked indeed the Trinnov altitude 16 in this place, and it was already a big step up from the original 32 unit. But what I heard today with the modified Trinnov altitude 32, that was really amazing. That really blows everything away. So much big difference that I never heard those tracks we heard today on that level. Never.
Yeah.
So I I want to thank Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Care to explain?
Transitioning to scramjet.
Nice bass. Maybe you want to say something about the way this project took us this long, or how long it would
Yeah,
take.
it takes quite over half a year. We working on that unit and find out where are the points where we can adjust a little and improve the performance. And it was really a hard, interesting way. And we are thankful that you help us out with that.
Yeah.
That we can use also your environment here, this great cinema that we can test here and compare in between. And also, like you said, the comparison with the altitude 16 was also quite interesting, because you have 32 and we try to find some possibilities to really compare that.
Yeah.
So we tested a lot of stereo, of course, because that makes the things a lot easier.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and that is it was also the first step I do with the modification, because the Trinnov is one of the best surrounding processors on the market, and there are a lot of possibilities to adjust in the software, what target curve you have, what you can do on the frequency area. And but my problem on the beginning was that I have to find some ways that I can really hear in first place what the chain is doing internally, without kind of manipulating the signal in first place. So, and the only thing you can do that is or the easiest thing to do is you take a PCM stereo track, like a CD, or you take a Blu-ray, then you have picture directly with a PCM stereo signal, because that's the only way that you can reach the DAC directly without any optimizer and all that stuff. You don't need a bass management in first place, so I switched that all off, and then I can hear the chain of the unit.
And look for the spark that lights the night through the teardrops in my eyes.
I didn't believe it, but it's really a step back now.
Yeah, especially also in the fine dynamics.
Yeah, indeed. You can really hear
Not
it and
only.
see it.
I can never go with you no matter how I want you to. Right on.
I like to hear what is the capacitor inside doing, what is the DAC sounding like, what are maybe the electrical issues inside, because a lot of things we do is EMI issues, so that we try to reduce the noise floors of the power rails internally. We look at the cables and try to find out which cable radiates in which way, so what can interact to to other things in the unit. That is what we searching for, and reduce this kind of issues to make sure that the noise floor is as clean as possible, and so that the working situation of each thing inside is on the best possible point.
We have to get there before they do. Increase speed.
We got you, Mav. Don't wait for me.
But you're so into the movie that you want to turn your head every time they take the turn.
Sir, daggers 2 and 4 are behind schedule. Time to target 1 minute 20.
But you can hear that right away when the units turns on. Then you can hear the big differences already, with the standard version or with the modified version. It's clear. That's totally clear. Oh, this is beautiful.
Mach 7, pushing 8. Flight data.
Receiving. Data's good.
Temperature's climbing. Response is still stable. We're feeling good.
But those depths in the
8.8.
picture.
8.9. Mach 9. He's the fastest man alive.
And Michael, maybe you can explain the viewers, the English viewers, a little bit what you do exactly. Like you just explained that you are cleaning up the signal paths. You do it by testing, with the PCM signal. But I heard you talking about things like jitter reduction.
Yeah.
While you clean up the signal, how does it work with interacting with the DUCs, for example, with the HDMI board, that has an influence on the sound and the picture quality?
Yeah, that has to do with that if you see it really overall, then all is interacting in some ways, because you have one main power supply, mostly, so that and then for example the 12 volts goes to the HMI board, goes to the DAC board. Depends a little on which unit we are watching now, because the 16 is a little different than to the 32. That was the reason we started the developing on the 16, because I like to develop the things so that we can take it over completely to the 32. So I started, I actually look at the chain path, so that I started with the HMI board, where the signal comes in. That's also what we have a lot of experience with the HMI thing, because we are working on the Lumagen, we are working on Danomerons for a long time, and I really also know exactly the chips what are in the Trinnov, so I know exactly which surrounding the chip performs the best with, and that is what I start with, and then I go to the processor boards, to the DAC and the analog output stage. That was the first, the shortest chain internally. So, and PCM means that is that signal what the DAC always gets. But if you take DTS or Dolby 2HD or another signal, then the decoder has to decode that first. So. And if you put on base management processing, then also the processor has to work additional to that, and that is what we first switch off, because I like to hear the chain. And the interaction you have always, because there is the all signals, or if you have a digital signal, you have a low and a high. So that's what the people think about digital. It's a 0 and a 1, but it's not a 0 and a 1. It's a voltage rail. So you have a 0, so the ground,
yes.
of the unit, but it's, if you look further or you zoom a little out, then it's not only the ground of the unit, it's also the ground of the complete system. So it's not only the Trinnov in that kind
Well,
of
particularly,
situation. It is also the amplifier, the projector, all of what is interconnect to that. So, and the processor is the main unit. So normally the start point in the ground way, and also the Trinnov is grounded. So it's that's one of the difference, for example, to the Marantz 8805, because that one is not grounded directly. So that is a complete different situation in the whole system. But if you have a power supply will always create noise on the voltage, and that you have also, because the backward path is always the ground, you have also noise on the ground. And that means if you have noisy ground and you have a noisy voltage rail, then the digital signal, what is created out of that, is depending always also the rising time. All that is depending on how clean is the ground and how clean is the voltage rail, and how stable stays that. That's also one point, because that causes jitter.
Yeah,
If,
because
you have the time differences between the rising part and the part down. So that is what then the DAC have problems with, so that you have less precise room appointment.
Yeah, precisely.
So, and also the dynamic is going down, but not in a really in a digital way. It is a problem of the whole system. That is what the most people not really
the parallel
thinking about.
influences.
That's you have. That's also one reason why the projector modification, for example, makes a difference in the sound. And you also hear that once that the projector can make a very big influence in the sound quality, what nobody is really thinking about. And that has something to do that the projector, one of the most current growing units in the system. If you have a big projector, then you have a very big switching power supply inside. You have a light engine or a laser engine, whatever, what creates is all the noise. And if you have a connection to the main system, then you will have a noisier ground, and that causes jitter on a digital way, and causes also dynamic issues on the complete analog path, because the analog uses the same ground, especially if you're watching at higher frequencies. Then you have always a connection between that, over a capacitor or directly, and then you have a ground chain what is all interacting to each other. So, and that is what we are looking at. That's also a thing why we optimizing the power situation in the cinemas. So that we go to the grid thing and try to optimize all that what can influences the complete performance of the system.
So you also better the signal to noise ratio. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Always, if you clean up the ground, you will have a better signal to noise ratio.
Yeah, and also if you get a stable signal, it's also better for the clocks, right? That they are on a steady level.
Yeah, also the clock is also it's a swinging waveform out of a voltage rail.
Yeah.
So that is what you have to understand. It's not, there is no really digital, because each digital signal is out of an analog power.
Yeah.
So you have a waveform what is describing a digital information. So you have a 0 and a 1, but it's not a 0 and a 1. It's a ground, and it is a voltage rail, 3.3 volts, whatever. And that means if there is some noise or is some performance issues, also if the voltage is not stable, that means
Fluctuating,
that the signal time when it comes to the one is always not stable.
Okay.
So if you reach a stable, more stable power rail with a cleaner noise floor, then you will always improve the jitter. That's
Okay.
And these are things that they are not dependent on a target curve. That's not a thing you can solve with a target curve. And a lot of people think that a target curve is like the holy grail. And in a way it is some
it's
sort
a
of a
very
holy
powerful
grail.
tool. You can
It's a powerful
arrange
tool.
a lot of that, and you can also fix some issues everyone has in the room. If you see the room modes and all that, you can do a lot with that, and it's a very powerful tool, and it's good to have, but it's not all. If you go to the small information, the emotional part,
Yeah.
that is the magic thing at all what we are watching and what we're trying to reach.
Yeah, we
is
heard it today.
that we get the best emotional contact to that what the creator intended.
Yeah.
So, and order the musician, and that is that what we all are paying for, that it comes to us.
Yeah, that's always interesting because people always have the attention that they always are convinced by 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, and everything above that frequency you can't hear it, you know. But especially in the higher frequencies, that's causing problems because of the whole parallel effect backwards in the whole chain. That's correct, right?
Yeah, it causes noise.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because, yeah, if that's let's say you have a radio station in the surrounding, then these radio frequencies are in the same frequency range like a DC-DC converter converts on the power rail if you don't filter that out.
Yeah.
But then that will all cabling, all what you also the unit itself is like an antenna, and that will catch that and transport it in some way to the next ground. Depends on how is the resistance in that frequency, but that's very complicated.
Yeah.
And but every time a current flows, it will radiate, especially if the frequency is high.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is causing problems especially on a digital way, because that causes jitter. Because then you have noise,
Yeah.
and the digital things are working on a very higher level, so that then we are not talking about 20 to 20 kilohertz. It's
Yeah.
a lot higher,
Yeah.
and that raise up the jitter.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is one problem.
Yeah.
And also the amplifiers are not cut off at 120 kilohertz, so then they at least they go up to 100.
Yeah, that's the high bandwidth amplifiers.
And
they react.
if
Yeah.
you have noise and issues on that range, they will really amplify that. But you don't hear that, of course, but it will reduces the performance.
Yeah, parallel, because you get a backwards effect on the whole chain.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
It's so bizarre. It's a totally different movie. I watched this clip like 100 times and it's so much better. The control, the details, everything. It's what I said earlier. It's no sound wall anymore. It's just every things in the movie that will be. It will. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a theoretical part. Interesting is if you go to the practical part, and if you watch at the Trinnov, for me it was really hard to say in the beginning what is really because a lot of people from the outside comes to us and talk to us. Can you not develop a modification for the Trinnov? Because normally we do a lot with Marwan Stenon, and but the unit is that interesting because of the processing thing, and it's really an amazing unit. And in the beginning you have to think about what can you really improve about that, and then you start to analyze what is wrong with what I'm hearing, and that is not easy to say, because if you watching at the measurement, that is also what Trinnov all the way do, then there is no problem. So that's the frequency response is good, and so all what you can normally measure is okay, and also what you hear is the tonality is perfect. There is no really a big issue in what you're hearing. But there is a difference in what you're feeling about what you're hearing, and then you come on the emotional level, and that is one interesting thing is the first time my wife heard the unit, because we are used to the modified 8805, of course. There's a unit we exchanged really over 600 parts inside, and we developed that over years. And it's a very, very amazing sounding unit, and we are used to that each day, and so we're coming from a little different point of hearing. So and then if you hear your favorite kind of music or something, then you have a used emotional impact to that, what you like to hear, or what you like to feel is the better word maybe. And my wife, in first place, said as she heard the Trinnov, she said that can you please put on the Marans again? For me, the unit doesn't work. And of course, that is hard that she said that, but in emotional, I can understand what she mean. That she lost the emotional contact what she was used to, and that is one of the worst things we all know, that if you know something better, then you have a very big problem if you lose that.
Nice flash!
Booster status!
Breathtaking.
Ja, dit is eigenlijk boven mijn verwachting, hoor.
Ja.
En het is niet omdat ik hier nu niet...
No,
we kennen elkaar wel weten, maar...
Yeah. But like this, there's so much depth in it that you think you are there. It's that much of a difference, sounding-wise, that you have the feeling that it's not your own settings anymore. But it is.
Yeah.
Well,
But the emotional part is, from what we heard today, for me, now it's complete.
Yeah.
Because the stage is huge from the Altitude 32.
Yeah, indeed.
In my experience, it's bigger than the 16. The 32 is a better unit. But now with the latest updates that Michael did, you also have the emotional part, the emotional connection.
Yeah, that was we were missing the emotional part in the original Trinnov, and that's why I said already to Victor some years ago, but you have to make a modification for the Trinnov, and
now you have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and now they finally made the modification, and I could be part of it. So
it was all it was fun.
Yeah,
it started really with fun.
Yeah, indeed, we had a lot of fun.
It's an important thing, fun.
Yeah.
No, and now we're here for the third time. And, so this is also a reference for us.
But every time you came here, it was a step on step on step. So
yeah. But it's not going to be our last time for sure.
I hope not.
Yeah. And
you have to bring the modificated unit with you.
I will start tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. good thing.
You help me. That's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I
nice.
do the
Okay.
pre-work. I will do the pre-work.
Yeah. Also, thank you.
Yeah,
Michael.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
Mike,
it was a
my
great time.
Yeah.
compliments.
Good journey. Indeed.
A lot of
Compliments.
fun. That's the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you won't be here for the third time.
Mostly as we watched Conjuring, that was not that fun, but
No,
it
no.
was the right emotion on that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't happening.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, put it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
If you
Mike.
want. Yeah, that's.
Whatever you like.
Yeah. Well, then the unit has to stay. Here.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Whatever you like. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.